I have two older brothers, this is about the middle one. Our parents divorced when I was very young due to our mother's insane jealousy. At first my dad was able to handle it, but when she started making comments about me wanting to be like his wife he had enough. She quickly rebounded with a guy with 2 kids and had shared custody for a while. But when my dad got remarried she went crazy, calling his new wife every horrible name and claiming he was cheating on her while they were married. I was always closer to my brothers and dad than my mom because she was always very mean to me. Long story short, my stepmom died in a bad car accident and my dad called her in the middle of the night letting her know he would pick us up earlier so we could attend the funeral, and she decided to take us on a fun trip to celebrate something. It was the happiest we've ever seen her, and when we realized what happened and started crying she told us only worthless people cry for WH/S. Needless to say, things went nuclear and my dad asked for full custody with visitation for her. He always left the line of communication open and paid for us to visit her when she moved away, but it was still very bad, and as soon as we turned 18 we started to lower contact with her. Last time we saw her was on my HS graduation, where she made a point of letting everyone who would hear we were ungrateful kids, and her HB would call us bad names too. Been NC since then. My brother Sam started dating his ex 3 years ago. She has heard all the stories and the reasons we are NC, but she believes we are just dramatic. They had many issues due to her opinions, but she eventually seemed to drop the "you need to reconcile with your mother" crusade. During the wedding planning there was no indication of things going wrong or fishy. Then we got to the church and lo and behold mom, HB and 2 kids were sitting at front. I immediately panicked and called my brothers. Sam thought maybe somehow she found out and wanted to crash, so he called his ex to let her know of the potential drama, but she told him it was fine since she invited them. Sam hung up and asked me to go get him while oldest brother dealt with things at the church. We went home and barricaded ourselves there even when his ex, her family, friends, etc. came to try and make sense with him. Mom's HB even called and said he always knew we were worthless. Now that the dust has settled most of Sam's friends are on his side and so is most of our family. Dad's ex's parents already threatened to sue for the money they paid if he doesn't marry her, but Sam says he rathers pay them back for their contribution than marry someone that betrayed him. My nuclear family 100% supports Sam, but the backlash has been huge. Edit, you guys just reassured us all, thank you. Some have commented about it, but no, she has not apologized. She even went so far as to text my oldest brother Joe that she thought it would be a good wedding present for my brother to her since she values family. My dad bought them a house as a wedding present, but only Sam is on the deed. She did have keys for when they moved there, but they just had the locks changed today, and Joe and some cousins are taking everything Sam owns from her flat during this week. We aren't worried about being sued, but we'll consult a lawyer just in case. We also heard mom and her family are still in town, but since we are all staying at our childhood home for a few days we don't care. My dad is sad that Sam is heartbroken but is trying to cheer him up along with my boyfriend and my sil. I had to delete/deactivate my SM because I kept getting nasty comments and messages, but the more people learn the reason Sam run away, the less it gets. I am still sorry she felt humiliated, but my brother comes first. Edit 2, we are 34, 32, and 28. Ex-sil is 30. Not in the US. I asked Joe about the church aftermath and it was just as I expected it. He says he stood up in front of everybody and told them Sam was not coming and to please go home and all their gifts delivered to our side of the family will be given back ASAP. The ex was still outside the church when someone in her family informed her and she started screaming and crying and calling Sam nonstop. Mom tried to talk to Joe that didn't even look at her, and when she couldn't get a reaction out of him she started crying loudly and lamenting how horrible we are to her, and some people started consoling her. This is her MO, but Joe and his wife didn't care. When they went out of the church the ex was expecting them and demanding to see Sam, but Joe said no. Then she demanded to know what to do with the party and he said if she didn't want the venue he would arrange for the food to be donated to the staff there so it wouldn't go to waste. Everybody was screaming except Joe because he didn't want to give mom the satisfaction. They, Joe plus Sil, came home after stopping at the supermarket and some fast food joints, and we have been inside like we are kids again, plus 2 more members. We asked Sam if he wanted them to go, but he said he wanted them there. We had all taken time off to spend family time after the wedding anyway, so it's not a problem at the moment. When the ex came to the gate we knew she was not going to use the venue, so my sil called them with Sam's info, told them to take the food, and also sent them some tips for their trouble. It seems we will get back all the alcohol that my dad paid for, so we will have a very drunk end of the year. A couple of people messaged me asking why did our dad ever marry our mom, and the answer is he really loved her and believed she was the nicest person ever. Turns out she wasn't, but she knew nobody, except I guess her nasty husband, would marry her unless she pretended to be nice. He considered staying with her until we were adults, but she kept ting worse. She used to get very nice and he thought she was changing and then she would change again. As per my ex-sil, we have no doubt that she believes mom is a nice person that has ungrateful children because she is extremely charming, and for some people is funny to make fun of others as long as it's not directed at them, but it still doesn't excuse ex. The only person Sam gave an explanation was his boss who was at the church, but he is very understanding and was pretty shocked of what mom put us through since we are fairly adjusted happy people. Our dad said that it was a shock for all of us and we can stay home as long as we need. Sam is moving home for the time being. I showed my family the post and they are moved by your niceness, but Sam wants you all to know X wasn't showing any concerning behaviors and he truly believes she understood his upbringing. He agreed to talk to her and her parents today, but only if it's at our home and we are there to support him, so it's going to be an interesting visit. Update 1. I was wondering why Sam accepted the meeting after not even talking to her, but turns out she sent videos and photos of all his things on the floor to his best friend Tom and told him that Sam either talked to her or she would burn/destroy it all. Tom came to visit Sam, told him what happened, and they informed her they need access to the flat before anything happens. Tom, Joe, a couple of cousins, and my BF went and took his clothes, electronics, important paperwork. Sam said he didn't care about the rest and even made a little joke about them being the fastest moving crew he knew. The meeting was, for lack of a better word, a ridiculous event. She came with her parents and sisters, tried to talk to Sam alone, but when he didn't allow it, she just started talking. Not once did she apologize. She said it's not her fault, we don't understand the value of a real family and we were raised to hate mothers. That her only intention was for Sam to learn to value mothers because she was scared he would take her children away from her, because that is what he was taught to do. Sam didn't say anything until she threw that this family is like a cult and you are a terrible father, looking at my dad. As you may imagine, this is a sore spot for all of us and we don't allow insults towards our dad under any circumstance. Sam just unloaded about how she was a hateful liar. He was disgusted he ever touched even her hand. He was grateful to the universe that I am chronically early to everything. He told her staying with a cheating husband as her mom does is nothing to be proud about. He said she pretended to be nice just so he would marry her. Unloaded all the minor things that he was willing to overlook because he truly did love her, or at least who he thought she was. He said he would never forgive her for the hurt she caused his siblings, but he doesn't hate her because that would require him to spend energy thinking about her, and she doesn't get that. At the end he said she had enough time to clear things, and since she has acted like a victim, he will be the one to let everybody know why he didn't show. It was brutal but cathartic and necessary for Sam. Her parents said nothing but were very red. She was crying. Her sisters attempted to defend her and their parents' relationship and were kind of expecting my whole family to argue too, but we didn't. Then Sam told his ex Phil he could sue if he wanted, but if he did, Sam would expose all his family's dirty laundry to the world, and he doubts he wants that. Amazingly, the dad still argued Sam could try and make amends and marry his ex because they are not getting any younger and all families fight. I've never rolled my eyes harder. The rest of the meeting went about logistics for the return of the wedding gifts already received, stopping the harassment from their family, the cancellation and refund of the honeymoon, the changing of the locks. Ex just kept crying and trying to talk to Sam, but he was in business mode and didn't want anything from her. He only replied to her directly when she said she was keeping her engagement ring with nobody asked for it. They left without issues. When the booze was delivered, mom and husband sneaked through the gate when we opened it. She said she just wanted to talk to her babe fives and my dad asked her to leave. She kept screaming he raised us wrong and we just embarrassed her with our behavior. She couldn't believe we were such bad people and we should start making amends with her because we clearly lack maternal love. She got that right, and this was the pathetic result. At that point Joe went out and told her to leave since the police were on their way. She took it as an opportunity to cry since it's the first time in about a decade he talked to her and tried to sweet talk him into going to grab dinner with her and her husband. But Joe just told her to leave, and the only news he ever wanted to hear related to her were the ones about her funeral so he could go celebrate. Cue hysterical crying and screaming from the husband demanding an apology and threatening to hit Joe. Dad and Joe went back inside and left them there until we saw they left and closed the gate. It is hard for some people to understand why we react like we do, but the things I wrote about our mother are just like the tip of the iceberg. Dad wasn't exactly proud of what Joe said, but he understood he needed to let it out and he was speaking for all of us. Maybe that makes us bad people, but we truly don't want to see this woman ever again. We are all going to have some family therapy besides our individual ones. Sam doesn't want the house anymore, but my dad says to take it slow and the first step is to mend his heart. We have had horror movies marathons and some Disney classics sprinkled here and there. We also had a drama bingo thing going on of all the things that could possibly happen because I guess we are truly dramatic after all. We love each other and were raised to treat people well, but we can be petty when pushed. I also feel better knowing she humiliated herself, and while I wouldn't wish to be left at the church to anybody, I would do it again because I love my brother more than I feel bad for her. We will be going on a family trip eventually, but right now we will continue our staycation. To the person that said Joe is a hero, his siblings couldn't ask for a better brother and friend. We've read everything so far. Thank you for letting me vent. The awards, the PMS, I am sorry if my English was not up to the standards. Joe and Sam names are obviously fake, but Daniela, go fuck yourself. Little note, my brothers are reading your messages and comments. They want you to know we know how lucky we are. They appreciate the positivity, want you to know it gets better, those in the same boat, and you are all welcome to our cult. Update 2. First, more clarifications. Anyway, this week has been really chaotic. Those who said to be prepared for the pregnancy tactic were incredibly accurate. She posted it online. People were freaking out again and calling Sam asking him if it was true. Sam called her and asked that she deleted it. She continued claiming she was pregnant. He asked her to delete it and to come talk about it. She deleted it, met up with Sam, and somehow this crazy woman thought he wanted her back. I went with Sam. She was very happy until she saw me enter the place. She started crying, holding her stomach, and when Sam asked her if she really was pregnant, she said yes and told him she didn't want her child to be from a broken family. Sam told her they were going to the doctor immediately to know for sure, and she cried even more, screaming he didn't trust her. Long story short, she isn't pregnant. But she posted Sam was forcing her to have an abortion and she was devastated. As you may imagine, this was a horrible thing to say. People were calling Sam because they are so whiplash. Ed from the drama, they don't know what to believe anymore. When my sil Anna found out about the posts and the meet, she called Daniela. I am unsure what was said in that conversation, but I also never saw Anna this angry. The posts are down, but Anna wrote an email with all relevant information, including that Daniela was never pregnant, and sent it to everybody in the wedding list. This morning we heard Daniela had a breakdown after leaving voicemails telling Sam if she couldn't be with him she wanted to die. This is another tactic straight out of our mother's playbook, and Sam simply called the police and told them what happened. Her family forced her into therapy and she is in observation right now. It brings us no pleasure that it came to this, but we don't want to get involved anymore. We are also changing our numbers, already requested it. Our mother emailed Anna threatening to sue her for defamation regarding the email blast, but we are not worried about it either. Anna's parents are amazing and they have made it perfectly clear they are on our side and 100% agree with the way she handled things. Joe was enraged, but Anna convinced him to let it go and simply move on. Mother's husband has been a peach as usual. Dad is considering a restraining order, but they are not great in our country. We did have a get-together at home yesterday and it was a lot of fun. There was karaoke, dancing, nice food and drinks, games, and bouncy house because why not? We love them. Most people avoided the topic of the wedding in the posts, but those who brought them up did tactfully. Dad had already given away a lot of the alcohol to his employees. They got to choose what they wanted and got a bottle each. He is also adding bottles into his Christmas baskets this year. We are going to spend the holidays together and traveling. I told Sam about the new paint for the house, but he just doesn't want to live there. He will rent it. I made a joke about me simply eloping or not having a proper wedding to avoid drama, and Joe told me in no uncertain terms I get the biggest party ever if I choose to. So yeah, he is still the best. Update 3. Anyway, I checked the last update and I can't believe it was only in early November. I have mainly good updates for you. Sam is doing well. He is taking time off work. His boss is very understanding about him needing time and told him he can always come back there. He is still living with Dad and has savings, so he is not worried about that aspect. He is running now and has decided to run a marathon next year. He is more and more his goofy self and is doing renovations at home, or in other words, Dad and Sam are trying to paint some rooms and do murals. It is hilarious and they have a lot of fun. Daniela wrote him a letter, but he sent it back. The house was put on the market as a rental and he is okay with it. I am engaged. It turns out it has been months in the making, and when I made the joke about eloping, my future husband Matt panicked. I discovered the plan. He spoke with Sam, who already knew of the plans, because he didn't want to make him uncomfortable, but Sam said it would actually make him uncomfortable if he didn't. He also spoke with Joe and my dad. My dad made him sweat when he asked for my hand, saying it was not his to give, but they say it was all in good fun. It happened earlier this month. I am very excited, but not as much as my dad. He says he wants to walk me down even if it is a civil wedding. While my news are amazing, I believe the other big news around are better. Joe and Anna have been on the adoption list for a while, and as of a couple weeks ago, Habema's baby. She is the most beautiful, sweet, best baby ever. The adoption is final, as it usually is in our country for newborn or almost newborn babies. We knew they wanted to adopt for a while, so when they told us about the baby being officially theirs, it was a lot of crying, but happy crying. Dad is in full grandpa mode, and even as bad as some things got is year, this is the best thing that happened to our family is years. Mom did learn about the baby and demanded an introduction. She has been served our version of an order of protection. She is never putting her eyes on her if we can help it. Those are the bad news. Due to the new COVID, we decided to stay home. Now with the new addition, we wouldn't travel, of course. We had a Christmas/welcome baby/baby shower/engagement small gathering last weekend, which Joe and niece didn't attend since she is too young, but they were there via Zoom. We all agreed to give Sam some goof gifts such as t-shirts, mugs, sweatshirts, etc. of Julia Roberts, since you know he is the runaway bride of the family. The reason Joe and I are considering moving is that we live in flats at the moment and we want to live in houses. We are still shaken up and we know we have work to do, but we know we have so much and we want to focus on that because the negative is in the minority. And no matter what happens, I'm always grateful for my family. I believe this will be the last update, folks. I know the last ones have been mainly drama-free, and might not be as exciting, but we aim for that. Now, second story. Boyfriend upset. I got lead in school musical and would have to act romantically with a close platonic friend, unsure how to navigate the situation. I, 16, F, have been a part of my school's theater company since I was in middle school. Theater means a lot to me, and it's given me a community of silly, talented, amazing people that make up my core friend group. While they would get all the leads for each show, both at our school and local community theaters, I never got anything higher than an ensemble part or a part with a few lines, and it always hurt me a lot because I would feel excluded. I've never let myself feel too discouraged by this, and I've been able to do a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff for shows I'm not a huge part of, like building sets, making props, and directing. This D always be super fun, but never as fun as being on stage and being a part of all the inside jokes my other friends would bring up outside of rehearsals, and this only added to me feeling excluded. Anyway, me and my friends all auditioned for a local teen production of Little Shop of Horrors last week, with 4 of us, including me, all auditioning for Audrey. We audition, and I think I do pretty well, but part of me knows I won't get the part. Well, yesterday, the cast list came out, and to my surprise, I got Audrey. I'm so excited and still buzzing over the fact that I finally have a lead, and one of my dream roles no less. All of my friends were extremely supportive and there was no tension among any of us over the results of the cast list, so I accepted the part right away before dancing around my room and going out for ice cream with my friends. When I got back, I texted my boyfriend of a year, 17, about the news, expecting congratulations and excitement, since he knows how big of a deal finally getting a lead is for me, but instead, he told me I should reject the part because I'd have to kiss the guy playing Seymour, and also generally act romantically around him on stage, and that makes him uncomfortable. The guy playing Seymour is one of my close friends I've known since 7th grade, and our relationship has always been purely platonic. He also has a boyfriend of his own. I can see how my boyfriend would be uncomfortable since I'd be acting romantically with someone who isn't him, and with someone I'm pretty close to. I told him I already accepted my part and he left me on read, and I don't really know how I'm feeling at the moment. I'm hurt because he hasn't congratulated me, but I feel bad for potentially hurting him and accepting the part without talking to him about how it would affect our relationship. Ida for accepting the part? Edit, I just realized that I wrote play in the title when Little Shop of Horrors is definitely a musical. When I say I've never been more ashamed of myself, I mean it wholeheartedly and I beg for forgiveness. Update 1. After a few hours of the post going up, I texted my boyfriend at the time to try and start a conversation about what was going on to no avail. When he picked me up from my house to take me to school the next day, he didn't say anything, and when we got to school, he parked and told me that he wanted to break up with me because I didn't seem to care that I had voluntarily signed up to be romantic with another guy without talking to him about it first. Never mind that this guy he's speaking of is gay and probably would rather eat moldy cheese off of a basketball court than make out with me, and never mind that his boyfriend was totally cool with it because it's acting and not a threat to his relationship. I tried explaining some of this to him, but he merely turned off the car, got out of the car and slammed the door. I was of course, upset because we had been dating for a year and up to this point, everything had been going great. But some of the comments have made me realize that by being blindsided, my boyfriend never believed I could achieve my dreams, and that's an automatic deal breaker for me. Also, he was a high school boyfriend, and I will most likely forget about him, but I will never forget the incredible experience working on this show has been. My current course of action is to completely ghost him and move on with my life, and then when he least expects it, I'll feed him to Audrey too, as some of you suggested. Opening night was last night, and it was one of the best fucking experiences of my entire life. Also, as a quick lil bonus, I'm currently dating the girl that's playing Chiffon and it's going great. We really bonded over the show and she's amazing. Overall, I'm very happy.